Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Open Book Broadcast, conversations about everything to do writing and publishing, and we're an open book about it. So today I'm excited to have Michelle Hill here. Michelle is a legacy builder at Winning Proof. She's a book and publishing consultant who helps sports and business professionals get championship quality books written and published so they can increase visibility and gain prominence in their industry. Michelle's clients include pro athletes, sports agents, coaches, high-level performance trainers, sports psychologists, and executive and leadership coaches. She has interviewed such notables as Dan Reeves, Dick Butkus, Mike Haynes, John Nyland, Leroy Jordan, Mike Golick, Dr. Bennett, Amalu, and Tony Dorsett. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Alyssa. I'm so excited to be here.
Woo! I can't wait to hear all about what you've got going on at Winning Proof. So let's just start there. Tell us what is going on with business. Like, why is it called Winning Proof, and what do you feel called to do through your business?
Well, actually, I started Winning Proof in 2008 after I had been downsized for the third time in 9 years in California. And I just wanted to marry my love of writing with my love of sports, and could never play sports. I just like to watch them.
Okay.
Yeah, I sucked at them like big time, but I love to watch boxing and football and boxing and football and then more football.
Well, then we need to know. So who's your favorite football team or teams?
Oh, well, everybody who knows me knows Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. All right. I remember having a childhood friend who was obsessed with the Dallas Cowboys, which is funny because we live in Vermont. No connection to Dallas, and we don't have a pro sports team. So you can kind of just pick whatever team you want, though a lot of Vermonters tend to love the New England Patriots because it's like one of the closest, right, teams. But I remember she was so obsessed with the Cowboys that she had like full-sized posters of the players in her room. And I feel like one of them at one point, the last name was Aiken.
Troy Aikman.
Troy Aiken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman. Yes.
And, Aikman. See, I don't know anything about sports. I'm surprised I even could pull up that memory. So in your business, what exactly are you doing? So you're blending kind of like the love of sports and the love of writing. So what does your services look like? How do you work with your clients?
Well, my key service, I was a ghostwriter for about, I would say 6 or so years. And that was starting to suck the life out of me because it takes so much time, so many hundreds of hours, and it's the long form. And I like the quickness of quick turnovers and just quickness. And so I thought, you know what? I was attending a networking webinar, and somebody said, if you've fallen out of love with your business, sometimes you don't have to ditch it and find something else to do. Sometimes you just tweak it 15 degrees or to the left or to the right. And that just was a light bulb. And so I thought, you know what? That's it. What have I always loved to do, even when I was ghostwriting? And that was coordinating the project, quarterbacking the project, putting all the pieces together, connecting everybody. So I thought, why don't I just do that and then have everybody else do the really hard work? Because to me, that's not hard work. It's a joy for me to quarterback a project. It's fun. It's exciting. I have a team of ghostwriters now, and I respect them immensely because I know, and they're much more talented than I was ever at ghostwriting, but they just love what they do. Everybody's in their lane. The cover designers, the editors, the proofreaders, the publishers, they're all doing what they love to do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it's like you have basically created a business around proving that writing a book is a team sport.
Yes, it is. Yes. And I call my partners, my teammates, because that's who all the people that I work with, and I've been working with them for quite a long time. They're my teammates. Yeah. And I quarterback the project, which works for me.
Important, right? Because I think when clients come to us in our kind of respective roles, right? they have this idea of writing a book, but they don't know what goes into actually writing a book, right? Or they know about writing the book, but they don't know anything else about the book. Like they don't know about cover design, or they don't know about the various levels of editing, or they don't know about the types of publishing options or building their marketing plan or anything like that. And it's like, once you start to break those things down for them, they're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of steps and pieces, right? To bring this product to fruition. And so it's like, yeah, you can't do this in isolation. You can't do this on your own, because you're not going to have all of the skills that you need to do this well. You need the other people, and you need the other people in the right positions, to use a sports analogy, to be able to help, kick that book over the end goal, end line, field goal, end line, end zone.
I love it.
I figured if I just threw out enough words, eventually we would get there. And you gave me the assist, which I totally appreciate. So it sounds like then, Michelle, so you're quarterbacking the project. So you're connecting the client to the people that they need. You are spearheading kind of the project. So you're like the communicator for all these people. Is that how that kind of works?
Yes, I'm the project manager, so to speak. I'm the liaison. I connect my clients once they sign on with me and pay their deposit. Then the first step is to, if they're using a ghostwriter, then we have a Zoom all together, make sure it's a good match. But I can kind of tell on that introductory call what ghostwriter I'm going to match with what client's personality. I'm pretty good at that. So usually I don't have to switch. Like a client will say, oh, I don't feel a connection to them, because I've already kind of matched them in my mind. Yeah. So first step is that. And I just connect them. They pay each of my teammates separately. I don't charge this, $50,000 price tag, and then they all pay me and then I pay my teammates. It just makes it cleaner that way. To they pay me my fee, and then they pay all my teammates their fees according to their contracts. Yeah. And that works the best. Okay. I have found.
Cool. All right. So everybody listening, you now know the model, right? You know how Michelle works, which is great. Now, Michelle, how far do you take the actual manuscript? Are you publishing it on the other end through your own publishing imprint, or are you helping them get a publisher? How far does the manuscript go with you?
I take them all the way to the extra 2 points.
Okay. All right.
So I take them, I have a variety of, I have two main ones actually of publishers that I use. I use a print on demand publisher, a little more enhanced, personalized attention, no templates. And then I have for probably $700 less, I have a self-publishing publisher who has 3 templates to choose from with styles that you just style A, B, or C. You like the drop cap, you like this style, that style, how it's laid out on the page, and you choose that. And so it's more of a template, but I've used them, had a great experience. A client said, the first client I sent to her said, well, I like this aspect of template A, and then this of template B, and this of template C. And that's why we there's no mixing and matching. Just choose A, B, or C. But right. That's, it's less, but it's, you still get personalized attention. You still get instruction on how to do that, but they still do all the uploading, all I help with the metadata. There's a form they fill out that, that I do that takes them a little bit of time, but normally a first time author would not know the things that they're asking. Right. So and then I have a traditional publisher teammate, but I really discourage my clients from that because they give up so much to be traditionally published to have a Simon and Schuster, logo or an imprint of Simon and Schuster. It's just, plus it's so hard to get in. They want you to have a 70,000, 50,000 deep email list. And they take your rights. They take most of your royalties. It's just not the best deal out there. So I always encourage self-publishing. Okay. All right. You just answered my next question. I was going to say, so from your perspective, what how would you recommend the publishing avenues to your clients? So it sounds like you're a big proponent of self-publishing.
options, because really the creative control and the rights control over the work itself really stays with the author.
Yes, it's just better for the author all the way around to keep all the rights and all the royalties from the beginning. And to your point previously of somebody like, you can't do it all yourself. People do that all the time. They try, but the book screams, I did this all by myself and I didn't care enough to get a proofreader. Right. And I'm finicky and fussy about that. And yeah, you can do it yourself. You can watch YouTube videos, you can go on Canva, but if you want a professional book, please
hire the professionals.
Yeah, it's the spacing in between the lines, everything. It's going to scream, I did this myself. Some people, that's okay. That's all they want is a legacy project, maybe for a family, family story, family history. But if you want an informational book, a memoir, autobiography, business book, take the time and the investment to get it done professionally.
Yeah. Oh, Michelle, you're my kind of woman. So everybody listening, I want you to take this key thing away from Michelle because it's extremely important. I couldn't agree more. And that is, if you're going to self-publish, do it well. Bust out all the stops, take it seriously, pay the professionals, get help where you don't have the zone of genius yourself or you don't know what you're doing, because it's going to be worth it in the long run. You do not want your self-published book to scream that it was self-published in the way that a lot of self-published books give self-publishing a bad name. All right. And we all know them because we've all bought them because they looked okay online or the description was kind of okay. And then they arrive and you flip them open and you know that this is not a quality book, that this person skipped things, they cut corners, they were trying to be as cheap as possible, and being as cheap as possible will never get you the book that you want. So Michelle, thank you. Thank you for putting that out there for our listeners, because that is hugely important. Tell us like a story. Tell us about one of your favorite projects or something poignant about an experience when you were interviewing clients.
Oh man, I think the most poignant story I have, and I have some stories, but I had a former client, Randy Brown, and if you can give me a moment, here's his book. It's Rebound. I don't know if you can't really see that.
It's like a ghost project because of this background.
Okay, yeah, it's a ghost project. It's called Rebound Forward. And he tells a story of he lost two daughters of the same disease at 4 years old, just 2 or 3 years apart. He self-medicated with porn. He got caught in the midst of that. He went to federal prison. He was a basketball coach, assistant basketball coach of a major university. And he went to federal prison for 2 years, and wife of 30 years left him. I mean, just a horrible story. But he was retelling the story, and we're on a recorded free conference call line. And I had to fill in some blanks with the stories of his daughters, which is a big part of the book. And I can't pronounce the disease name, but it's where all their muscles just collapse all of a sudden. So one of his daughters, she was on in the bathroom one day, and she just folded into the toilet. Just all her muscles just went like that. And it was so sudden. And then a few hours later, she's dead. The next daughter, same thing. And so he's retelling this story, which was still extremely painful. And we're on this recorded call. And I usually, most of the time, do not show emotion. I'll listen to them and I'll say, oh, wow. Oh, but he was tearing up. And then, it made me tear up just hearing the pain in his voice. And so I think that is the most poignant story I can tell, and he's doing really well now. It's a few years past that. And he wrote his book in federal prison when he was there. And now he helps other men recover from porn addictions, and just, and he does have a one, I believe, at least one living daughter that's in her mid-20s, something like that. So that was the most poignant moment I had with a client.
That's just like heart-wrenching, and also kind of one of those stories that you almost believe that it's not possible, like truth is stranger than fiction kind of thing, right? Like, it also reminds us, right, that our people who are notable or recognized as being highly successful or highly achieving or whatever, right? They also have shit happen in their personal lives. They have devastation and grief and loss and struggle the same way as people who don't have those, higher positions or, high recognition or whatever it is. And so this is why I love nonfiction. I love memoir, because it makes it so relatable that these types of things happen to all of us. There is no getting out of it because you make more money than somebody, or you work in a certain industry, or you think that you've got it made. Like, anything can change for any of us at the drop of a hat and send us on a tailspin that sets us on some other trajectory, right, that we don't anticipate. But I'm so happy to hear that he's well now and doing really incredible things with his story. I like to call it turning pain into purpose, or trauma into art. So I'm so glad that he has his story out there, and that what an incredible journey for you. I mean, how did anything about your process working with clients change as a result of working with him on that book?
Well, that's when even though he wrote his book, I was still kind of ghostwriting at the time. So I just word polish it, and I don't consider myself I just say, I take your words and make them pretty on the page. My ghostwriters now, my team, takes their words in recorded, transcripts that are in written transcripts, and they just make them pretty on the page. You can't create a book from just, okay, here's 200 pages of recorded transcripts. You take out the ums and uhs. That does not make a book. You have to have bridges. You have to have transitions. It has to flow. You have to give readers a reason to turn the page. Mm-hmm. And that's really an art that I really respect in my ghostwriters. But process wise, again, my favorite part was putting all the pieces together and just getting him. And the joy, I think my why is that just seeing the joy of a first-time author holding their book, and that I helped them make that happen. That's super exciting to me. And I just went to a book launch of a client, Larry Long Jr., and his book is Jolt. And it's about rediscovering being intentional and rediscovering your inner greatness. And I rarely get to meet my authors because they're all over the United States, but I got to meet Randy Brown of Rebound Forward. And I got to meet Larry for the first time after working together for over a year. And he had his book launch in Morrisville, North Carolina. And it's so exciting to see that book on every table and to just see that smile saying, I couldn't have done it without you. Oh my gosh, that just warms my heart, and it just makes me keep on going.
Yeah, I just last week actually got in the mail a client's book that's now gone through all the editing. It's available for pre-order. It comes out officially this fall. And I was as excited, I think, getting her book in the mail as I was getting my own book in the mail when I got my first proof. It was so incredible. She wrote this really lovely note in the inside, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I was just like, oh my God, I just wanted to like wail. I was so happy and excited and elated. And it's such a cool privilege to do this work with people. But like my client base is all over the US, and it's very rare that I get to meet any of them. She is a exception. She's right next door in New Hampshire. We still haven't met, but I should be able to make it to her book launch this fall. And it'll be the first time that I actually meet her in person in like 18 months. We've been in this thing together a long time, always through Zoom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how do I incorporate like more travel into my into my model, because you get really, really personal with these people when you're working on their books, and you feel like, you know them. I mean, sometimes you know things about their story that other people that are close to them don't know yet, that this book is going to reveal. And then you're only getting to see them on Zoom. It sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And people, I had one of my first, when I was ghostwriting, my very first former NFL client, we connected via Zoom, which is my magic sauce. I mean, I've pretty much built my business on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, LinkedIn. And when we started, his book never did come out. Some life things happened, and we still keep in touch. It's been 2015, something like that. Wow. But when we started the interview process and just, recorded interviews, and back, we were using Skype because Zoom really wasn't on the scene quite yet, real popular. And we started, and he started recalling some of his military days and stuff. And he said he was married. He still is married, but 30 plus years. He goes, I can't believe it. I'm telling you things my wife doesn't even know. And that's such an honor for me and such a privilege. Yeah. And I take that seriously, because I have a way of it's just me. I'm really hospitable, and I just have a relaxed way of just asking questions and making people feel comfortable. And so I just start asking questions. And then, like you said, other questions come in. They like, oh, how did that make you feel? And without sounding too psychologist, how did that make you feel?
Yeah. I hear that. But you have to ask those questions, right? You have to ask about the feelings and the details and the sensory kind of reaction to something going on, right? To make the book more compelling, and,
yes,
to make it seem like there's an actual story versus just somebody kind of like, reiterating to their grandchild, and it was 5 miles in the snow every winter to school.
Yeah. Uphill both ways.
And the car was red and the bus was yellow. And it has to be more interesting than just, then this happened, then this happened, and this happened.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that when they get going, right? Especially if they don't consider themselves writers. So, So what about, do you have any tools, tips, or tricks that you would suggest to somebody who's just getting started in their book writing journey?
Oh, there's a few tools out there that writers can use. And I don't have them in front of me right now, but there's some like Reedsy, REEDSY. SDEY, I think it is, Reedsy. That's a free formatting tool. Nothing fancy, very basic. But if somebody does not have the budget to do it on their own, they can use that to format their manuscript. Drafted Digital is another one. You can upload your formatted manuscript onto that. I've used it before. I love it. And Drafted Digital for free will put your, just blast your book out to, now they do Amazon. When I did it, they didn't have that yet, but they will do it at, KDP, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wow, all the major platforms. And now they have print books too. That's a cost. Of course, you have to have them,
sure,
produced, but yeah, that's another really good free resource. There's and I know I sent you the link, which maybe you can put in the show notes, but yep, there's a book title capitalization tool that you can look online and say, okay, should there be a comma here? And it's only for book titles, and it'll tell you what words need to be capitalized, because some people get that wrong. Yeah, and when I did my first children's book with my cousin, Joy Vandertoolen in Texas, we put a comma in Giselle's silly, soggy day. And we later learned that you don't put punctuation for the most part in children's book titles. Okay, Good. If I would have known about that tool,
Right.
we would have known that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that's 3 of those are great suggestions. At least 2 of those I was not familiar with. So that's awesome. You're teaching me something new. So before we kind of start to wrap up, I've got another question for you. How do you stay motivated when everything around you is falling apart?
Well, I have had everything around me falling apart, and I have had clients. 2017, I had 2 clients that comprised my whole income for several months. One mother-in-law died, one other had a life, some kind of problem, and no income. Like, I started January 2017 with $0. And when everything falls apart, you put and I know it sounds so trite, but you put one step in front of the other. When you feel demotivated, just do one thing for your business that day. Sometimes you don't feel like doing anything. When you're self-employed, there are times when you feel completely demotivated, unmotivated, demotivated, however you want to say it. You feel that way. And sometimes life is happening around you, family issues, whatever it happens to be, and it can totally derail you. And the best thing I can say, and I've been at my desk with my hands buried in my arms, just sobbing, how is this going to happen? And you just have your moment, and it's okay to have moments. Please have that moment. Have it. Don't say I'm strong and I don't feel. No, feel it, and then lift up, dry your eyes, and move on. Just do one thing. So if you're feeling that way when life falls apart, then just do one thing a day. And that's what I've done when I started my businesses. My first business was Michelle's Cookie Kitchen. And I had a full-time job at the time, all that, but I just did one thing at a time. When I started Winning Proof in 2008, one thing at a time. I was working full-time at a job, job, and I was a personal chef on Monday nights and a personal trainer Tuesday and Thursday nights. And I worked my business and connected with people on LinkedIn at nights and on the weekends. So just one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Don't look at everything as a whole. Just one thing at a time. And that really helps. And just the checklist, check. Just do one thing, check.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Great advice, Michelle. It makes me think, the thing that I'm usually telling clients, because they're looking at the whole game of writing a book, is let's not worry about all of the things. Let's worry about the one right in front of us. I call it take your next best step. What's your next best step? Because that's all you need to worry about in this moment is your next best step. You don't need to worry about the 15 steps ahead, because you're never going to get there if you don't take the next one. So next best step, right? And I feel like the other thing that you were really saying is like, it's consistent action. It doesn't have to be big action. It's consistent action, right? So, when you're eating that elephant, right, you just got to take a little nibble after little nibble after little nibble, and all the little nibbles add up until, you're down at the tail.
That's right. Put a little hot sauce on it.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And if anybody here is thinking that any elephants are being harmed in the making of this video, they are not. There were no elephants harmed in the making of this broadcast. So Michelle, where should people connect with you?
Oh, the best place is on my website, winningproof.com, WINNINGPROOF, winningproof.com. I'm big on LinkedIn. I have over 8,000 organically built connections. 8,028 now.
Nice.
So, the 8,000 was a big one, but LinkedIn, you can find me under my name, Michelle Hill, or Winning Proof.
Perfect. And
you can find me there. Those are the 2 best places. My email is on my website on the contact me page. So that's there. And those are the 2 best places.
Okay, everyone. So if you want to connect with Michelle and you want to know more about Winning Proof, you want to know what she's doing, who she's working with, what she's got coming up for freebies, events, any of that stuff. All right. You know where to go and find her. I will be including that information in the description of the video. So Michelle, this concludes Open Book Broadcast. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. I really appreciate you having me as a guest.
Bye, everyone. Tune in next time.